Welcome back to yet another episode of your Re-Educated podcast. It has been a lovely week of recording, and I'm so excited for today's conversation. We are speaking with Rosabeth Moss Kanter. She is one of the leading scholars of leadership, organizational change, innovation, and strategy. She holds the Ernest L. Arbuckle Professorship at Harvard Business School, where her work focuses on how organizations transform, how leaders build cultures capable of change, and how institutions can solve complex social problems. She is the author and co author of 20 books, including Men and Women of the Corporation, The Change Masters, Confidence, Move, and Think Outside the Building. Her work has shaped how people think about power, tokenism, corporate culture, innovation, social impact, and the role of leaders in building institutions that can adapt to the future. She also co founded Harvard's Advanced Leadership Initiative, which was designed to help experienced leaders apply their skills to major social challenges. I am so excited for today's conversation. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I feel like I love starting with origin stories just to know how people found the things that they ended up spending their lives studying. I would love to know what kind of drew you into wanting to understand organizations and how they change more.
Um, I don't have much of an origin story. I've been a professor, um, just my entire career, although I've done other things too. I've had a chance to lead things, found things, but mostly this is something I've just been fascinated about, since I went to graduate school.
Yeah, I mean, I think a good place to start is just understanding what we mean when we use this word organization, because it seems to be something that's so broad, and I've learning more about it. I've been struggling to understand if you can call the family structure an organization, or if you can call a school an organization. How do you work, or if you can define even the relationship with yourself as an organization? How do you define what is and isn't an organization?
So there are technical descriptions, but I think what you've described are a variety of systems. So I'm interested in social systems. Some of them take the form of what we call formal organizations, like corporations or ventures. Others are more informal, like families, but they still have a structure and there's still a system, and changing them is still an issue. So change is something we all struggle with, but generally don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, and change is always difficult, but it seems like one of the hardest things is identifying what kinds of processes allow for change and how that happens. Because I think across the board, even with education, I mean, we see every century, even faster, these huge kind of transformations happening, which require the entire system to often change in many different ways. And whether we can do that gracefully or not, I think impacts many learners. And so when you look at change, I guess the first question is, what is the impetus to why an organization begins to feel the need to want to change?
Um, well, first of all, let me go back for a moment and give you one of my favorite sayings, which is that change is always a threat when it's done to me, but it's an opportunity when it's done by me. So when
Mm,
it's done to me, it's something other people are inflicting on me. It's something that's happening because the world is undergoing a technological revolution, or it's something that's happening because my boss wants it to be different. And those kinds of changes are always resisted. So it has to do with the origin of the change. On the other hand, change that I'm making, I don't even refer to it as change. I call it my projects. It's my work. It's something I want to see happen to the world. And people love that kind of change. That's why we have so many entrepreneurs in America and why we have so many people who are constantly changing things. But each change that one of us makes is inflicting it on somebody else. So, I didn't particularly ask for a lot of the digital tools that are coming along. I was perfectly happy doing my work analog style for a long time. Then they come along, and people like me have no choice but to adapt. Whereas for the entrepreneurs who are pushing that, and sometimes I push my own changes, they're valuable, they're important, they are bringing about something positive. So your perspective on change depends entirely about your role with respect to it.
I mean, I think, and this insight is actually quite profound in so many different aspects, not just change. Your relationship to a thing profoundly influences how you experience it. Not just it's not so trivial in that sense. So when we think about being the change coming from us rather than to us, what are the types of things in which I guess people can make you feel included in the change?
Well, that's one of the ways you overcome that sort of resistance. I remember once earlier in my career being asked by a very famous giant corporation. Um, I think it was probably after the Change Masters came out, and they were interested in having me speak to them because of all the changes they were going through, technology, people, culture, and I thought that was great. They said, "Can you come and talk to us about mastering change?" I thought it was great. I thought that meant they were ready to empower their people to take hold of the change and create on the basis of it. And that wasn't true. They actually wanted me to come and tell their people how to obey the orders that were coming down to them from the top. So that's one way not to make change. But the way to make change when you empower people to act on their own ideas, it makes a huge difference. And in every kind of change, whether it's moving a building, whether it's a merger or acquisition, whether it's a school implementing a new curriculum, in all of those changes, there's still opportunities for the people themselves already in the organization to play a role, be involved, have a voice. So, my theme for my entire long career, um, I have always talked about empowerment and the importance of the voice of the people. And that's true whether I'm dealing with big strategies that have big financial implications, whether I'm helping an entrepreneur start a new venture, in whether I'm helping a system like a community figure out how to ensure the well-being of more of its people or the health of its population. You do better in all of those improvements. We don't even, I mean, because you include people, you listen to them, you involve them, and then they are not only less likely to resist, so it's not just a manipulation. They are also likely to give you some really useful information about what they want and how it can come about.
Mm. So, I mean, I think people talk about this quite often in education as well. When you talk about those kind of degrees of freedom that can be offered within any policy implementation, how do you balance giving that freedom without it being completely counterintuitive to the policy implementation at hand as well?
Well, you always set boundaries. I mean, there are boundaries in life, there are trade-offs. And, we're not, there's this phrase about letting the inmates run the asylum. Well, the reason we use that as a popular phrase is because that's a very bad idea. Um, and, but if you've included people from the beginning in the sense of communicating to them about the rationale, not everybody still is going to agree, and some people might leave, but you're much better off than if you just surprise them with it. One of my 10 big sources of resistance to change, I call surprise, surprise. Like there was one company, an auto company, that was going to close a plant at a time when they were trying to cut costs, lots of competition. And some of the workers heard about it in the car on the radio while driving to work that day. I mean, that might be the ultimate of the wrong way to communicate. So you
Mm,
include people, you clue them in from the beginning, and you don't suddenly surprise them. You know, we surprise parties, surprise birthday parties are not always joyous because everybody else knows about it and they could dress up. You know, those of us who are the subject of that party might be bedraggled, we might be tired, we might want to do something else, and all of a sudden it's inflicted on us. So surprises are not a good idea.
yeah, I mean, I guess especially with change because it makes sense that surprises would feel like you're not included at all. And I guess one of the questions I have for you is, what is one of the values of with your existing workforce or existing population to kind of train them in the new way rather than just letting them all go and rehiring complete new set of people who already know the new things?
Oh, yeah, well, of course. Um, there's a learning curve, and one of the other reasons people resist change is because they're not sure they have the skill to do it. Not only is there too much uncertainty, but there's also a question about can I do it? Will I last in this new regime? Will I last in this new digital now AI world? And so you've got to help if you want to just get rid of all your people. Like I do know some executives who feel that way. They'd rather run their company without people. Um, that's serious. There are some in the tech world who feel that way. But if you want to keep your people and you want the knowledge that they have, you've got to train them. You've got to give them rehearsals. You often have to give them a buddy that they can pair
Mm,
up with that can help them through the transition. So, training, education, a huge part of the change process. So, change is not the announcement. Change is never the announcement. Change is not a decision, it's a journey. And the
mm,
announcement is the beginning, but maybe it's not even the beginning. It's the pre-work leading up to the announcement and then the work of bringing people along and planning the details. So change is a very long process. It's a journey. Um, and you can't really make change effectively without thinking about that whole journey.